Oh, sorry about that. I got kernel stuck in my throat from popcorn. Yeah, first note, filming, don't eat popcorn right before filming. Okay, so yeah, this is like a Wangan Midnight inspired build, and it's got the original L28 in it, 2.8 liter inline six. Oh, so it's kind of in body work phase. Oh, it's dusty. It's dirty. I bought this car, like I said, about 10 years ago, and a lot of stuff has advanced. A lot of companies have come out with stuff since then, and so I'd like to do the Pro Tuners manifold, the intake manifold, maybe even the header. As you can see, it's got the stock manifold there off a 280ZX. See a horrible coolant leak from sitting. Gotta fix that. Maybe go to AN. Always wanted that giant AN coolant lines. I'd like to do Mega Squirt on this. Maybe Mega Squirt 3. Get rid of the distributor. Do LS1 coil on plug. We'll do something with the front accessory drive, underdrive pulleys or aluminum pulleys, maybe. I used to have a beautiful Coilovers radiator from Japan, but back then I also had the clutch fan still, and it picked up a Coke can and just shredded it, destroyed up across all the cores. So this is a cheapie, like 5 years old. I got it from some company in Texas or something. It's not bad. I realize now looking at it, I don't even think it has a drain, so that's gonna be fun when I gotta drain the system. It's a cheap oil cooler from eBay. It has a sandwich plate there for the filter. Kind of restored the battery area. It had a bungee cord when I bought it, pretty bad. So I redid it, redid the metal down there, and fixed the firewall a little bit. It was a little messed up. This whole engine bay is in, what is it? Bed liner? Yeah, roll-on bed liner. I brushed it all on and came out pretty good. I mean, better. It was like 6 colors before. It looked horrible. It looked like a drop a bag of Skittles on it or something. It was bad. Cheap eBay intercooler, same side. I figured less intercooler piping would help the spool time. Blow off valve, again, cheap eBay blow off valve, and it recirculates back to the front of the turbo there. Turbo is a cheap T3, T4. You know, the whole kit was probably less than $500. I pieced it together for it. The exhaust, I did it myself. I got a prefab down pipe and cut it up, made it work with the AEM wideband and all that jazz. It actually works pretty good, and the whole exhaust is 3-inch back, mandrel bent. I got a bunch of sections and welded them together. It worked out pretty well. Like everything else, I'd probably like to redo some of it because it was like 5 years ago, and I welded a whole lot worse. Not that I weld any much better now, but I don't know. I guess practice in that field makes perfect. A little air oil separator deal that I kind of set up in line with the PCV and the crankcase breather. That all used to be up here in the factory, and actually connected there. And I didn't realize it, but I was feeding boost through there into the valve cover in the crankcase for some time, so that must have been fun. But I eliminated that, made a block off plate, and did all that out of push lock, and goes up into the PCV, up under the intake there. And I mean, it works. I actually haven't started the car since I've done that. I have to start it, make sure there's no leaks or anything, and see how it feels now that it's not kind of shooting boost into everywhere else where it shouldn't. But yeah, that's the engine. I'm assuming it's matching numbers, but who knows? It might not be. The transmission's not. This car was a 4-speed car, and I blew that up, so now it's a 5-speed car. It's got the billet diff mount because I broke like 2 of those power shifting it, and since I've gone with the billet, it hasn't broken, I'll tell you that. The wheels are they're basically like all the way out, backspace wise. They're Bart racing wheels. They were super cheap from Summit when I bought them at the time. The only weird thing is they need these 1-inch aluminum lug nuts because of the seat. It's not a normal seat, so that kind of sucks, and I always feel weird torquing on them because they're aluminum. But you know, it is what it is. It works, and they haven't fallen off ever. I've driven this car to Daytona a couple of times and blasted at least 150 more times than I'd like to admit. And it works. It works. It's got a 10-gallon fuel cell in it because the stock tank was just destroyed inside. It had a bunch of rust. It was bad and left me stranded a few times. It ate a few fuel pumps, so I got tired of dealing with that. Put a fuel cell in it. It's got yeah, everybody freaks out and thinks that's super sketchy, but it works, and it makes draining the tank really easy. But it's got, see the exhaust there, riddled with leaks because of my wonderful welding. See the pump, Walbro, I don't remember, it's 155 or something. And a filter, I think it's a Fuel Lab pre-filter. And that's basically AN all the way up. Oh, myself with my garage. Yeah, that's AN all the way up. I'll go down underneath one day and do a better video. But the whole car's AN push lock now. That hose is like flex safe. It'll flow whatever you want. It won't collapse with time like the stock shit. It's pretty good. It's never failed me. I use it a lot of stuff. I got a special tool for those fittings. It makes it really easy to push them on. Cool Tools is the company. It's a great tool, super easy. Okay, let's see. It's got a 3-inch inlet. I think it's like a 6-inch outlet. HKS. High power? High power, I don't remember. This is like for a Supra or something, but man, it sounds freaking great. You know, not obnoxious at all. There's the interior. The windshield's out because I was doing windshield rust repair. It was really bad on top where the roof skin meets the windshield channel. It was torched. I had to cut like 3 inches out of the roof skin to fix that. It was bad. Weld new metal and body worked it, and it's good now, but now I need a windshield because that old one, I mean, it had a chip in it ever since I bought the car in the middle. But sure enough, when I was pulling it out, I guess from the chip, it just cracked in like four ways. Real nice spider crack. So, you know, that sucks, but I need a windshield now. Yeah, see, lose my decals, oh well. I'd like to plumb the fuel door. Christ. Yeah, you see, this car, it's not perfect. Far from. I like to plumb the fuel door to the cell eventually, because I hate having to pop the hatch every time at the gas stations to fuel up. People freak out. They're like, what the hell, this guy's throwing gas inside of the interior, when they see you do it at first. But people that know, you know. Yeah, that's pretty much it for the Datsun. It's got 240Z tail lights. Luckily enough, when I bought this car, it looks so much better with 240Z tail lights personally. When I bought this car initially, I was able to acquire a 72 240 parts car, and I got a lot of cool stuff out of it. Sold most of it, but kept the tail lights and did the conversion. And yeah, let's see. Screw it. I'll open it. I gotta redo that anyway. So here's your floor situation. Not perfect. Bunch of foam. There was foam underneath. People had put foam everywhere in this car, so I'm still digging foam out of different spots. But the floors aren't destroyed. That is a 2x4. I want to say 2x4 rectangular steel that ties into the front frame rail section where it meets the firewall. That was like destroyed when I bought this car on both sides. And yeah, it ties into a square 4x4 square steel that I cut perfectly to fit in place of the stock stuff after I cut it all out. And actually it came out really good. It came out so well. You can see that in there. The welds obviously are amazing, but it came out so well that I could jack the car up from that now with no issue. It doesn't creak, nothing. And you know, that's about how high the rot went. So that's square steel, solid square steel, cut to fit. And that's double thickness of factory gauge steel that I welded all in there to patch up and strengthen, and it works, you know. When that was all cut out, I painted it all in there and treated it all in there, all the rust that was in there, and I'm pretty confident that's went from the weakest point to the strongest point in the car. I mean, I used to drive the car, and when I would hit the brakes, it would shake, the front would shimmy so bad because of You know, that metal down there being so rotted, it was just yanking the frame rails left to right. And I drove this car for like a year like that. So bravo to Nissan. At one point, it's a cool story. At one point, the engine started to fall out because where the cross member bolts to, that was rotted pretty bad and had already basically come loose from the body, you know, from itself. So I made cut a bar, went across, and I ratchet strapped it up from around the mount. I think I went around the whole bottom, wrapping around the mounts. I ratchet strapped it up. It held. I drove it for like a week like that before eventually that was it. That was like the final week before I quit that job and made a big move and was able to put it in a barn after that. And that's when I did the metal work on both sides, the repair. So I did that repair and the car was, man, best it's ever been. Did the repair, it said, okay, I'm going to turbo it, start making it fast now that it's safe. I did braided brake lines all around, even though it's got drums in the back still. It's got cross-drilled and slotted rotors in the front with the stock calipers. The car actually stocked really good. So I'm driving to work one night. I was working overnights. And I said, I'm going to take it to work. I was a little groggy, going over some train tracks. This was out in the country. And, man, sure enough, I don't know what the hell ran in front of me. If it was a boar, wild boar, or maybe could have been a bobcat, man. I don't know, whatever it was. I hit it with the spoiler. Boom. Once it broke through the spoiler, I hit it up under here. It ripped the filter off the, see, I need the light. Ripped the filter off the turbo inlet there. It had a nice little filter and it ripped it all out. It came back here, boom, it hit the steering rack and the cross member. It bent to shit. The outer or the inner or both tie rods. And man, I'm hoping not, but I'm thinking maybe pushed a little bit back the cross member because this area wasn't the strongest already. I was gonna jump to this side and start repairing forward of the engine mount area on the frame rails, and that was gonna be yeah, I had to do that whole bottom area where the sway bar mounts. That's like almost gone. I gotta redo that still. So, you know, that's probably gonna be the initial direction we're gonna go with this channel and this series. This channel is basically me just trying to finish my unfinished projects. I got a couple of them. I got this, and I got a Pontiac Le Mans 1970 that's like a drag car, cash days, you know, potential one day, who knows. But definitely, you know, I drag raced it back in the day, street raced it a lot, and, you know, that's what I want to do with it. So it's going to be that one and this one mostly. And that's what we're going to start with this one when we do start. It's going to be basically removing the front wheels, you know, jacking it up, removing the front wheels, and assessing the damage to this side, suspension, steering wise. I want to drop everything, replace whatever bushings I got to replace, kind of restore the parts that I can restore, replace what I got to replace. My thing is when I replace parts, I always like to replace with stronger if possible, if it exists. So it's going to get strengthened lower arms. I got to do the coilovers. Right now it's on cut eye-box springs from like 86. They're probably eye-box from like 86. The whole deal with them was that one of them had a full coil essentially rusted and broke off, like clean, one coil, boom, the bottom coil. So I just cut the other 3 to match and happened to lower the car pretty nice, you know, just doing that. So that's why the car stands the way it is. It's just accidental. The wheels, yeah, I did on purpose, but the flares happen to just, the car looks good. But I got to do coilovers, do it right so I could adjust it. And, yeah, after coilovers, I got some bump steer spacers I got to put on. I got some, yeah, I like RCs a lot. And it's one of, like, the things that keep me from working on this is spending money on all that, but whatever. Try to concentrate on this. So yeah, the plan is to get the steering components stronger than factory, you know, restored back to, if not stronger than factory. Suspension, do coilovers. The engine, I like keeping the engine that came in the car. So like my Pontiac, I run the Pontiac that came with it. This thing, I'm gonna run this thing. You know, 2J or an RB would be awesome, but I don't know. You know, it's I like to just keep. Maybe it's my dad. You know, that's my old man talking. That's the way he likes to do it, and that kind of rubbed off on me. So yeah. I'm gonna keep this thing in it. I gotta pop the head off and put a way better head gasket, port the head, Pro Tuners intake, Mega Squirt 3, go get it tuned. If it makes good power and holds, then I'll upgrade the turbo. You know, I'll put a good turbo on there and drop the exhaust, kind of go through it, re-weld, you know, maybe redo it. That's basically it for this thing, man. I like to paint it dark blue. Watanabe wheels would be like bucket list, but if I could get some cheap knockoffs that are wide and obnoxious, that'll work. And yeah, this is, I just want this to be like a highway cruiser, street cruiser. But, you know, it makes good, reliable power out of the stock power plant. Brakes, probably go to Z. I think Z Car Garage. They're the guys to go to for brakes in the Z's. I'm pretty sure I'm gonna go with them and do 4-wheel discs conversion from them with the master that they tell me to, and you know, I'll bow to them. My dad always said a professional has to know when to go to a specialist. So, you know, for them, I'm gonna go to them. And that's it. The car will be making good power. It'll be stopping good. It'll be looking good. And that'll be it for this. So just enjoy it, you know. The Pontiac is the next one we're going to get to. That one's interesting. I've had that car for a long time. It's a car I've had for 10 years. Bought it myself, you know. This is a whole, my deal. This is, no one's helped me financially or labor-wise. This is all me. The Pontiac's a different story. That's my old man and I. So it's a different sentiment, you know. My old man taught me everything I know, so, and a lot of it he taught me on that car, so that's like a super keeper. You know, one thing I forgot to mention or talk about is the whole gauge package on this car. Let's see. Oh yeah, the shifter's a TWM weighted shift knob. I rebuilt the shifter with bronze bushings from probably Z Car Depot. I don't remember where. I bought a lot. Whatever companies existed, there weren't many when I bought the cars, where I bought parts from. Switch panel I made myself, where the AC stuff went. That's just fan and fuel pump right now. It's got a Momo adapter and a billet quick release. It's actually like a cheap eBay quick release, but man, it works really well. It's kind of failure proof the way it's designed, and I've used it a lot, and it works really well. I'll show it to you in a bit. The gauges I'm really happy about. You know, growing up, everybody you build your cars in high school, you put the cheapest gauges you could find in there just for looks. But this deal, you know, this is all functional. These all work, and they're all really good gauges. That's my AEM wideband, and everything else is odometer, carbon fiber ultralight, oil pressure, voltage, water in the stock location, fuel level for the fuel cell, and boost, most importantly of all. Those are in carbon pods up there from Automator. Stock speedo, stock tack. They actually still work. Not well. Got my emergency cut for the battery. It cuts everything but the radio memory. Got an old radio in there. I'm not even know if I'm gonna run a radio or not in this thing. Probably. I like to listen to the Wang and Midnight soundtrack, like a mega nerd, while I drive this thing. So whatever. But yeah, I kind of did that little switch panel. I think I bought it from Longacre Racing, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, for sure. Because the push button is a Longacre push button. Like, Longacre, in my opinion, have like some of the best electrical components. They supply NASCAR with their stuff and a lot of motorsports, so they're really good. And it's just all about, you know, the AutoZone stuff failed me constantly. They fall apart. They're not good for continuous duty and long duty. You know, they're good for like once in a while. Let's see. The floor is a mess, but I don't know if I'm gonna run carpet or just bed liner in this thing. I'm unsure yet. Probably a nice set of buckets or redo the factory buckets. I actually don't mind the way the factories feel, but the foam is gone in them already. The passenger one's not in bad shape, but this one, especially from my big self driving this car every day for a while, it's worse for wear. Let's see. Yeah, see, it's not bad back there, and inside the interior rust wise is not bad at all. Yeah, you know, this would be like the first, you know, finished product if I could follow through and finish it. You know, that my family's always been about making the engine work, making the mechanical work. Interiors like last, really paint is secondary. So, you know, I want to, mechanical is going to be right, you know, that's no problem. But I want it to be right paint and interior wise too. I want it to be a car I want to drive, you know, I look forward to driving.